Doug NPA back on another video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on the way in. I really appreciate it. It shows that you support me and the content on this channel. So, female empowerment has encouraged women to go to school, get their careers, and go into fields that were traditionally dominated by men. So, computer science, military, law enforcement, corporate America, and the C-suite, etc. Right? And an issue I've seen is the expectation that the existing culture of a male dominated space has to bend to include women. Now, the reason why I say this is yes, it's male dominated, but a lot of these fields, masculine traits are what can make you successful. And the expectation that people exhibiting these masculine traits to get ahead have to stop doing that to include any group, not just women, but any group is crazy to me. So I found this video by this woman who takes who takes a look at this, and instead of men having to bend to women coming into the workplace, she talks to women on how they can keep their eyes and ears open and recognize how to be malleable and work themselves into the existing dynamic of a male dominated space. So let's get this video started and take a look at what she has to say.
One of the biggest struggles for women in STEM and male-dominated career fields is feeling like we fit in and we're accepted by our male colleagues. Even if there aren't overt comments and discrimination, we don't always feel like we're welcome, so too many of us wind up leaving our jobs for more traditional roles.
And that's true. So one of the key things she said is feel like we're welcome. You have to feel like it, and that's a problem, number one. Number two, yes, a lot of women, if they don't feel like they're included, they will feel like they don't want to work there anymore. Whereas a lot of us guys, even if we don't feel like we're welcome, we feel like we're going to want that paycheck, and we feel like we have a family to feed. So we'll stick there, and we'll try our hardest to make the situation work.
Then we feel like we failed, and we don't push ourselves in our careers the way we should. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what drives those feelings and what we can do to change them so we know we belong. The root of the problem can be found in my chart. Men have the trait of autonomy, and women have the balancing trait of group.
So let's look at this. The blue zone, the purple zone, and the pink zone. So the blue zone has autonomy, tangibles, and action, task expertise, done, linear perspective, etc. The purple zone is where the two meet, and the pink zone is group, abstract, and action, multiple task management, done well. So it's the blue zone are the male characteristics, the pink zone is the female characteristics, and the purple is where they all meet up.
We think this means that men are loners and women always need to be with other people. But let me ask you this. Why do men make such a big deal about women going to the bathroom together?
That's a good question. Why do we do that?
It's because it's the only thing they refuse to do as a group. They do everything else together.
I never thought about that. That is true. I've never gone to the bathroom with a group of guys, but I see women doing it all the time.
Women who work with men see men's groups all the time, and we assume that they behave the same way women's groups do. So when we apply women's behavior to men, we often get the feedback that we're being rejected, even if we aren't.
And that's the thing. Once again, women will feel like they're being rejected. They'll look over there and not even know what's going on with this group of guys, but they'll be like, they don't like me for some reason.
This is why we need to understand the differences in how men and women's groups interact. Women's groups naturally have synergy. We have the ability to do our
I don't know about that. I know a lot of women that can't stand each other, but particularly in the workplace. But let's continue.
own work, coordinate our work with our colleagues, help our colleagues do their work, talk about work, and talk about our personal lives all at the same time. If you go into a pink zone workplace, there's a lot of energy, and it's no secret in the male-dominated workplace that pink zone workplaces are the workhorses of the organization.
I'd agree with that, yeah.
Men's groups don't have this close interaction because every man has to maintain his autonomy. This limits how men can talk about work. To them, coordination is just telling each other what they're working on. Now, you may be thinking that the guys you work with always seem to be talking about work. But if you listen, they're talking about a client, a coworker, or a situation. It's always about something that's happening over there and not what's going on between them. And it's in this way that men maintain their individuality and separation from each other that women can't relate to.
I would agree with that, yeah, because I've had women tell me, Doug MPA, you talk about work all the time. Why don't you talk about anything else? So I've been told that by women in workplaces, but not really by men.
At first glance, men's groups appear to be very social, but in reality, they're a network of alliances where members trust each other, look out for each other, and take care of each other. So if one member gets a promotion or a new job, he takes care of his buddies and they all follow him to his new position.
That is 100% true, and I see no problem with that at all. You know, if you have a group of your wolf pack and they help you with the skills and the knowledge necessary to move forward, and they've shown you that you can trust them and they have honesty and integrity, bring them along with you.
Men's groups are the foundation of the good old boys club, and this is what women need to learn how to break into. When you join a new workplace, men assume you have autonomy too, so you have to own who you are. These are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, these are my quirks, and these are my boundaries.
That's fantastic. 'Cause again, you have to figure out who you are, what you're good at, what you're not, and then show what you can bring to that group of men. Don't assume that they're gonna assume that you're competent in every single area just because you're you. You know, trust and competent and people knowing that you're competent is earned, not just given automatically. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with some workplaces when women go in there is we're supposed to just assume that you're strong and powerful because you're a woman. No, like almost every guy on that team had to show their worth and earn it, and you have to too.
And don't be surprised if someone tests your boundaries. Your new colleagues are going to have a lot of questions about who you are. And their most important question is, can they trust you? Many women fail this question because we get offended. We don't know how to use our autonomy to stand up for ourselves and push back.
That is 100% true. That's why I'm really the term microaggression really gets me because you know I'm black and I grew up in a lot of predominantly white areas and I've worked in a lot of predominantly white workplaces. And some of the nicest people I've met, coworkers or friends, it started off with some kind of ignorant comment because they were from a different culture and I was black. And people, particularly white people, they you have to know if an ignorant comment comes from malice or not. And that's even in the workplace. I've had people that have never been that aren't familiar with a lot of black cultures and customs. Yes, in the United States in this current day and age, when they were trying to get to know me, they said something ignorant, but I could tell it wasn't from a place of malice. And I didn't blow up on them because I think one of the worst things you can do is if a person from a different race, particularly a white person, is reaching out to try to understand you, particularly if they want to try and form a friendship with you or a work relationship, if they're reaching out and they say something ignorant and you blow up on them and shame them and punish them, it's going to make them never want to try to form a relationship with you again or could break the avenue of building trust like she's talking about. But let's continue.
So many women never go on to develop the best response, which is to flip the script with a good sense of humor. Having a good sense of humor is critical when you work with men because men often work in more stressful environments and they use humor and talking to help relieve some of the stress.
There you go. That's very important. You have to learn how to take a joke. Ladies, gentlemen, black people, white people, anyone listening to this, if you're around a bunch of guys, you have to learn how to take a joke. Once again, you have to be able to determine if a joke is malicious or not, because 90% of the time it's not. And then you got to learn the humor. If the guys talk about football a lot and they make a lot of jokes about sports or a lot of things, just research and try to be able to at least be on the level playing field. So do your homework, keep your eyes and ears open, and figure out how the whole thing works.
And make sure you participate in men's favorite bonding ritual, lunch. If you're invited to lunch, that's your invitation to join the group. So if you don't go, they'll see it as you rejecting them.
That's that's true again. You know, some of the best networking opportunities or mentorship time is going to lunch. But although you can't do that anymore because, the whole M2 thing. And, on this channel, I always say, hey guys, don't go to lunch with female colleagues. You know, We're in a new era. Don't be in a room alone with a woman at work. Don't approach women romantically at work. And sorry, lady, but don't go to lunch with female colleagues. Just don't do it.
But if you're still having a hard time breaking through, remember the old adage, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. It works in the workplace too. So bring in some food. It takes time to build the kind of relationships we want, but we can speed up the process by asking one of our male colleagues to help train us. We're going to appeal to his expertise and ask him to show us how he does something. And don't be surprised if other men join in and talk about how they do it in order to show off their expertise. To men, this is autonomy, but to us, we're discreetly sowing the seeds for the kind of interaction and coordination we want.
I would agree with that. Yeah. You have to be able to concede that people are better than you at certain things. And yes, ladies and men can be better at things than you can in the workplace. And so if someone's an expert at something, seek knowledge from them because that builds a relationship.
As you're building your relationships, you're going to realize that your workplace could benefit from a huge dose of coordination, female style. But before you dive in and tell your colleagues how they can do their work better and trample all over their autonomy, you need to earn their respect.
That's 100% true. And I see too many women go in there demanding respect and demanding change without earning it first. That's a no-no.
The easiest way is to simply take care of a workplace problem the guys are avoiding. Don't ask for permission, just do it. It proves you have autonomy, are taking care of your buddies, and are someone that can get things done. That's what they value, trust, and respect. Now that you've solved one problem, you're ready to tackle another. And the guys, they're going to let you, especially if it reduces their frustration and stress. This opens the door to all of your female traits, so you can start building the synergy and having the kind of interaction you want. Now, some women don't want to go through this process and they don't think they should have to. But here's the reality check. If we don't do it, it's not going to happen. Men don't know how to introduce the pink traits into their workplace that will create the type of work environment we want. So it is up to us. But there's an upside to all this.
Yeah, I agree with her. There's it's like when black people started entering white spaces in the United States. My grandfather and grandmother's generation, there was no expectation that white people were going to be friendly and inclusive. But they had to go through a lot. But once and they had to let their performance and their work earn the trust. And now I know it shouldn't have been like that, but hey, it was. And that's what I think that people need to do is go in there, show that you're competent, and then start introducing your ideas and your traits.
We get to distinguish ourselves as leaders, and that earns us more respect. But more importantly, that's how we find our acceptance and value in the male-dominated workplace so that we can continue to pursue our careers and grow the number of women in these career fields. Eventually, over time, fewer and fewer women are going to have to go through this process because the workplaces they come into, they're not going to be blue. They're going to be purple. This is
And there you go. So once again, This video was about how a woman can go into a male dominated space and keep her eyes and ears open and become a part of the culture. And then once respect and trust has been earned, she can start introducing some of the more, as this lady puts it, pink or feminine traits and synergy traits in there. But to go in there kicking down doors and trying to tell people what to do, that's not going to work. Tell me what you think about this video below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.